Good morning. Happy Easter, everybody. So, I've kind of been on this roll about talking about, hardships and suffering, struggling, all of those kind of topics. I truly believe that those are the things that cause people to lose faith or turn away from faith in God and faith in Jesus. I know I've had my own struggle with this. I think we all go through it. I really, truly, honestly believe that we all go through it in some form or another. It's just part of the human experience. It's part of our working out our relationship with God and how we are going to choose to relate to Him. And what I have discovered in my own personal journey of hurt, pain, disappointment with life not turning out the way that you thought it was going to, you have these visions and these dreams for how you want life to go. And the reality is that most of the time, even if we do achieve some of those things or whatnot, it still doesn't ever go fully 100% the way that we thought it would, the way that we envisioned it would. There's gonna be hurts, there's gonna be pain, there's gonna be disappointment, there's gonna be letdowns from other people. It's just part of life's experience. And I truly believe that these things are all part of it. Like I said, part of our working out that relationship. And like I said, what I've come to discover is that we were never promised a pain-free existence. We were never promised an existence that didn't include struggle, didn't include trials and tribulations. In fact, Jesus said in, I believe it's John 16:33, I'll have to double check myself, but I'm pretty sure that's the scripture reference. He actually said, you will have trials and tribulations in this life. He said, but take heart because I have overcome the world. Okay, so here's the promise in that. Yes, you're going to have hard times. You're going to have struggles. Okay, but the good news is He has overcome all of those things, and with His power, with His strength to help us, we can also. We don't have to be victim to those things. Without His power to help us, we are victims to those things. We are victims to circumstance. We are victims to the pain and the hurt and the disappointment. But with Him, with His help, we don't have to be victims to those things. We can overcome those things. And guess what? Even additional good news is that He can use those things for good. He can use those things to help other people. He can use those things to help us. He can use those things to help other people. He can take something not good and turn it for good. That is awesome. Now, I know some of the things that we go through that causes pain, that cause us to become upset and angry with God, are the choices of other people. When they choose to abuse us, when they choose to hurt us, when they choose to wrong us in whatever way that is, when they choose evil instead of good, we oftentimes choose to blame God. But here's the thing. You know that you have a choice, right? You know that you get to choose right or wrong. You know that you get to choose good or evil, right? Well, guess what, boo? So do they. Okay? So, God has given us all free will. He's given us all the freedom to choose whether or not we're going to cooperate with good or whether or not we're going to cooperate with evil. And guess what? We all have a sinful nature. Apparently I need gas. Okay. So anyway, we all have a sinful nature, which means that our default setting is toward evil. Our default setting is towards destruction. Oh my goodness, there's a beautiful, sweet car over there. An old muscle car. That is my favorite. Sorry, y'all. In case you haven't noticed, I struggle with a little bit of ADD. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Our default setting is on destruction. Our default setting is selfishness. Our default setting is towards sinful choices that harm us and harm others. Our default setting is not for our good. And so, therefore, that's the case with us. That's also the case with other people. And the thing that we've got to come to understand is that because God gives us the freedom to choose, He's not the one responsible for what they did. He's not the one responsible for when they wronged us. Okay? He's not the responsible party for those things. Was it terrible what they did? Yes. Yes, it was terrible. Nobody's taking anything away from that. It was terrible. And I hate that you were hurt. And so does he. His heart breaks that you were hurt. Scripture tells us that he weeps with us. He weeps over our hurt, over our pain, over our disappointment. When I went through a divorce, however many years ago it was now, 10, 11, something like that, my heart was broken. My children's hearts were broken, and my heart was broken even more because of their hearts being broken. Guess what? He didn't do that. He didn't cause that. Mine and my ex-husband's choices caused that. But he was there for me. He wept with me. The scripture says he is near to the brokenhearted. If you are hurting today, he is near to he is near to you. He loves you, and he wants to comfort you if you will let him. He wants to comfort you, and he wants to give you his peace and his strength to overcome these things. He does not want you to stay there. He does not want you to stay in that hurt and broken place. He wants to bring you healing, deliverance, and joy unspeakable. It says in his presence is fullness of joy. Fullness of joy. Think about that. That is elation. That is the height of pleasure, of goodness, of the best things that we can imagine. It's in his presence. Don't run from him because people have done you wrong. Don't run from him because this life is hard. He is your source of strength. He is your source of hope. He is your source of joy, even in the midst of struggle. He is everything that we need and want. He is everything that we desire. We just don't realize that he is where it exists. We don't realize that he is what we're looking for. We're looking for all these things. We just don't know that they're in him. But when you find out that they exist in him, nothing else will satisfy. Nothing else will satisfy. You can chase after all of these things, just like Solomon said in Ecclesiastes. You can chase after all of these things in life that we think are gonna promise us, you know, they promise us everything that we want. They promise us all the good stuff, you know, whatever our hearts can imagine, but they don't deliver. Solomon said that it's all meaningless. It's all meaningless. It's a chasing after the wind. Well, I don't know about y'all, but the last time I tried chasing the wind, I didn't catch it. So Sorry, I'm just imagining myself out there chasing the wind. So we chase after all these things that we think are going to fulfill us, that we think are going to make us happy, whatever, when the truth is all those things that we are looking for exist in Him. We have to lay down our pride, though. We have to realize that we are not God. We have to realize that we don't have all the answers, and He does. We have to turn over our sinful pride, lay it at His feet, humble ourselves, and say, hey, God, I'm sorry. I don't got this, but I know that You do. I know that You have the answers for what overwhelms me in life. You have the answers and the healing for the pain that I live with. And I choose You. I choose You. I ask You to help me with these things. And I ask You to help me to get to know You. I want a relationship with You. And then seek to get to know Him. Because He can be known. He is a person. He is real. He exists. And He can be known. And it will change your life and your existence for the better to know Him. I promise you. Thank y'all for taking the time to listen. I love y'all, and I hope y'all have a blessed Easter today. Guess what? He is risen.